That's why I always wear a hat. So my hair is going everywhere. Okay. Hey guys, what is up? It's Biff, and today we are changing the oil on this Lexus. So you got some kind of a Lexus that's like an IS350 or an ES or whatever you have. We're gonna see what it takes to get in here and do this job ourselves. So if you're a do-it-yourselfer that wants to change your oil, stay tuned. All right, let's get this thing up in the air and see what we're looking at underneath. A couple things on this car here. So when I went to go get the oil filter had different setups, different applications, depended on whether or not you had an all-wheel or rear-wheel drive version of this car. This is all-wheel drive. And it's very obvious why, because with the oil pan being right here, your front drives are coming straight out of the left and right side of this thing, and your rear drive comes off of the side of it as well. So obviously the engine oil is performing some functions for lubricating that system as well, and so that changes a little bit the filter and the quantity of fluid necessary. So mine's right at about 6 quarts of 0W20, which I've got. And I do have a filter cartridge, and we're gonna see if it's the right one or not. There's a lot of discrepancies at the part store even between what the book says would apply and what they had on their computer, which we're in disagreement. So we're gonna see if maybe under this panel right here is access to the filter cartridge, and get in there and start draining this thing and open up the cartridge and see if we've got the right one or not. Looks like some 10mm bolts right here will get us access inside here. And presto! We've got this panel off, and it looks like it's probably just a 3/8 drive ratchet straight into the end of this to be able to unscrew it. So once we get the pan drained, we will go ahead and get an extension on here so we can get our ratchet on there and try to loosen this guy up. So we got here, looks like a 14mm, and we are correct. That's some dark oil, and there's a lot of it. Okay, so now that that's slowed to a trickle, I'm gonna go ahead and put this plug back in so that I can switch over to this. Once we get this drained, I'm going to be able to come back to this. So I just got my 6-inch extension for the 3/8 ratchet. Let's see what we can do here. Oh, easy. Okay, before it starts draining, we'll see if we can catch it by hand here at all. That is freaking dirty. Wipe this off and we'll go topside and get a better look. While it is very dirty, there are no metal shavings or anything in there, so that's good. This car has, I want to say, over 13,000 miles on it now, and these are 10,000 mile oil changes from what I can tell, and so it's probably been that long since this was changed, which makes sense for how dirty it is. The oil filter was a little bit hard to make sure we had the right one. This is the one that it said that I would need, and it is an MIC 256 according to the book for the all-wheel drive IS350 2021. This one has an A on it, so I wasn't sure what that meant, so I went to ask the guy at the counter, and when he looked it up, it only showed what the book showed as the rear-wheel drive version as applicable, and didn't even show this one in there. It's just the element, and it comes with some kind of a little doohickey here, I guess, that we have to plug into it somewhere. We'll find out here in a second. But at first look, it appears to be the right size. So that's good. We'll figure out the height here in a second. That looks pretty good as well, down just based on the housing. So it does come with a new O-ring for the outside of the housing, and another smaller one that probably has to do with this guy right here. Looks like it fits perfectly on there. So I am going to have to look up inside here and see if there's any kind of a contraption up in there that this maybe goes in and replaces. I see what's going on. All right, it looks like this is actually a bolt that is two-piece inside here. So if I take that out, this must just go inside here. You clip it in so that you can drain the oil. I'm not sure how you would do that without having it already all drained out on you. All right, so we've got this baby wiped off inside and out. Remove this O-ring, clean the groove like that. This one needs a little bit of engine oil, so we will just dip it in here and just make sure the oil is all around it, and then take that guy without damaging it, slide it down into its groove like that. We'll wipe it off again. We'll oil it up again before we install it, just to make sure that it's lubricated. And then now it's just a matter of taking our new element, which doesn't look like it matters which direction it's going, and we will plop that on there like that, and we're good to go. So this thing, I guess, would only be needed if you remove this inner portion here, and maybe it's a cleaner setup to have this stuck in there and drain it through a hose, but I'm not seeing it because there wasn't a whole lot that came out anyway, and you saw how easy it was to remove it. So this guy's ready to go in. We're going to wipe out the inside and install this back in there with a little bit of oil around this O-ring. We'll wipe it out again, getting all up in there and around the threads and the sealing location. We look good. Taking our just a little bit of oil there and putting it on the seal, just so it's lubricated when it's going in. Slide that in there and hand tighten it. Okay, it is hand tight. We are going to go do a conversion for what 25 plus or minus 5 Newton meters is. Comes to 18 roughly foot-pounds plus or minus 4. So 14 to 22. I've got mine set at 20. Which is pretty low on the scale, so I expect it to click pretty easily, and it's probably going to be hard to tell if it even does. And let's see what we got here. There we go. There we go. We can close this up and go back to the oil pan. Alright, and one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and let the car down so that we can drain out any remainder that's in there that might be pulled back here at the back. This is drained. We're going to wipe it off and put our drain plug back in. Hopefully not drop it in the oil. Snug that baby down. And we're ready to let it down and put the oil back in. The first thing I'm going to do is wipe out my funnel so I'm not getting all the dirt from my garage down there into that clean new filter. This thing should take 6 quarts for the all-wheel drive, so I'm just going to go all in with this 5 quarts initial. As I said, it is a 0W20 that goes in there. I got the extended performance to 20,000 miles. I was looking for 10,000. And couldn't really find it, but it didn't matter because they had a special going on this at the auto parts store, where it was buy this and get a free oil filter, so that made it worthwhile. Okay, now that we got that one in, before I put the 6th quart in, I'm going to go ahead and start it so that I can get the oil circulating through the filter, draw it in to the engine, and get it at a normal level, and then we'll see how much of that 6th quart actually has to go in, if it's the whole thing or just a part of it. How you check oil in this thing? Hey, it's got a regular dipstick. I mean, I guess it is a Toyota after all, and we're not that high performance. All right, we're just barely touching the end of the dipstick, so we're gonna go ahead and add the whole 6th quart. Okay, so this guy is probably gonna be hard to see on camera. The fluid level is somewhere about right here. So we're over the bottom mark, but clearly not up to the full mark. I have taken the oil, the old oil, and I have filled both the 5 quart jug and the 1 quart jug, so 6 quarts, and you can see I still have a puddle in there. I couldn't get it all out. That is clearly not much, but for a car to drive 10,000 miles on oil and not consume any of it and still fill 6 quarts plus a little, tells me that this thing actually has a capacity that's more than 6 when you change the filter. I don't know if it's a full 7 or 6.5, but regardless, we're gonna get 1 more quart of this. We'll top it off to make sure that it's at the top line, and it looks very clean and healthy. So let's go ahead and wrap this job up and then take care of one last thing before we call this job complete. So what you can see right here obviously is oil maintenance required soon. So we're gonna need to go into the menus here and go to setup. We're gonna go to vehicle and we're gonna go to maintenance. And you can see here that we were overdue here, so we're going to reset that for another 10,000 miles for the engine oil. That's green now. Now let's go to the filter and reset that one. Okay, and so now that we have those taken care of, the last thing we got to do is take care of this oil maintenance notification right here. So I've got the ignition turned on, just 2 presses right here. I'm going to move the dial over like this, and we're going to go over here to the settings part of the menu, and we're going to scroll down to vehicle settings. I'm using this button here to navigate and select, and once I get there I'm going to go down to oil maintenance and reset data. Reset is complete. I'm not going to reset the scheduled maintenance because that could be other things that have to do with tire rotation, etc. So we've got the oil maintenance reset, and now when we shut this off and then turn it back on, we should have no warning there any longer about having the oil changed. Because this is an integral kind of depends on whether it's front or rear wheel drive, and you got some of the axles going through that where that oil pan is. I'm going to go ahead and take it for a quick test drive, check the oil one more time, and if need be, top it off. But I'm here to tell you that, I mean, we're done. And that was probably one of the easiest oil changes I've ever done. This car is very simple. Resetting everything is really simple. It doesn't take a dealer to go in here and reset your oil change interval. It doesn't require anything special for checking the oil level. It's just a dipstick, and you saw how easy it was to drain it and swap out that filter element. Just a jack, a couple of jack stands, 10 millimeter, 14 millimeter, and a 3/8 extension, so that you could get that filter cover off. But other than that, easy peasy. And that filter that I got turned out to be the right one for the all-wheel drive setup. So hey man, I couldn't be happier. This thing's good for another 10,000 miles. It's running great. Loving the car, and really enjoy having you guys here with us along for this journey. So if you like this content, please reach down, like and subscribe, and keep coming back, because yeah, you never know what you're going to see on this channel. And we'll catch you again real soon. Take care.